They said no man could survive the return of the clan that raised him. They were killers, thieves, and his only family. But when they rode into the town he loved, he had to choose between blood and honor. One man would face 50 riders alone, and what he discovered before sunrise would change everything forever. Dust rolled across the plains like smoke from an old war. The town of Dry Creek was small, honest, and quiet, the kind of place where people still waved from porches and left doors unlocked at night. It was the kind of town that didn't belong in a violent world. At the edge of town stood a ranch with weathered fences and a barn leaning against time. There lived a man named Caleb Hart. Most folks knew Caleb as a hard-working rancher. He fixed wagons, mended fences, and never spoke more than needed. Children trusted him. Old men respected him. Widows prayed for him. But no one knew the truth of where he came from. Caleb had been raised by the Blackthorn clan. The Blackthorns were not a family by love, but by fear. They were an outlaw gang that moved like wolves across the frontier, robbing trains, burning farms, and vanishing before sunrise. Their leader, Gideon Blackthorn, found Caleb as a starving orphan boy after a raid 15 years ago. Instead of leaving him to die, Gideon took him in. Caleb learned to ride before he could write. He learned to shoot before he learned mercy. He learned that weakness got men buried. But deep inside him, something refused to become cruel. When Caleb was 19, the clan attacked a farmer's wagon. Inside was a mother shielding her daughter. Gideon ordered Caleb to finish them. Caleb lowered his gun. That night he fled. He rode for days with no food, no map, and the weight of betrayal on his back. Eventually, he reached Dry Creek, where an old widow named Martha gave him water without asking his name. "You look like a man running from himself," she said. She gave him work, shelter, and silence. Over time, the town accepted him. He built a new life from the ruins of the old one. Then one evening, 15 years later, a boy came running through town. "Riders!" he shouted. "Dozens of them!" People rushed outside. Dust clouds rose on the northern road. Caleb stepped onto the street and felt the blood drain from his face. Blackthorn banners. The clan had found him. At the front rode Gideon Blackthorn himself, older now, but still sitting tall in the saddle like death had made room for him. His beard was silver, but his eyes were sharp and cold. The rider stopped in the center of town. Gideon smiled when he saw Caleb. "There's my son." The town fell silent. Caleb walked forward slowly. "I stopped being your son the day I left." Gideon laughed. "Blood remembers. We share no blood." "No," Gideon said. "But I made you." The townspeople looked between them in shock. Sheriff Nolan stepped forward, hand near his revolver. "You and your men have 10 seconds to leave." Before he could finish, one of the riders fired. The sheriff's badge spun into the dirt as he stumbled back, wounded in the shoulder. Women screamed. Men reached for guns. Caleb raised his hand. "No!" He looked at Gideon. "What do you want?" Gideon's smile faded. "You." The old outlaw pointed to the town. "You ride with us again, or by sunrise this place burns." A chill spread through the street. Caleb stared at the people behind him, the baker, the schoolteacher, the widow who saved him, the children who waved when he rode by. Everything good in his life stood behind him. Everything dark stood in front. Gideon tossed a pocket watch into the dirt. "When the sun rises," he said, "choose." The clan rode to the hills overlooking town, setting camp like vultures waiting for death. That night, no lamps burned in Dry Creek. Caleb sat alone in the barn, staring at the watch ticking in his palm. Martha entered quietly. "You can still run," she said. He shook his head. "I've run enough. You can't fight 50 men alone." Caleb looked up with tears he would never let others see. "They raised me," he whispered. "I know how they think." Martha placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then maybe God let you survive them, so one day you could stop them." Outside, thunder rolled across the plains. Caleb stood, saddled his horse, and strapped on the guns he had buried years ago. When the church bell rang midnight, he rode out alone toward the hills. And behind him, the whole town watched in silence. Rain began to fall as Caleb climbed the ridge where the Blackthorn clan camped. Fires flickered below. Laughter echoed through the dark. They thought he was returning home. They were wrong. Caleb tied his horse in the trees and moved through the shadows like the boy they had trained. Quiet. Patient. Invisible. He cut loose their spare horses first. Then he poured water into powder bags. Then he dragged rifles into the mud. One by one, he turned 50 killers into frightened men. But Gideon had taught him too well. "Come out, boy!" Gideon's voice thundered through camp. "You always did make too much noise when you cared." Caleb stepped into the firelight. Rain ran down both men's faces. "I came to end this," Caleb said. Gideon circled slowly. "You came back because this is what you are." "No," Caleb answered. "I came back because I know what you are." The clan formed a ring around them. Gideon drew first. 2 shots cracked together. Men flinched. When the smoke cleared, Gideon staggered. His gun fell. But Caleb's shoulder bled too. The old outlaw dropped to his knees. He looked up, strangely calm. "I made you strong." Caleb shook his head. "No. Pain made me strong. Kindness made me a man." Gideon laughed once, then collapsed into the mud. The clan looked leaderless for the first time in decades. Some reached for guns. Caleb stepped forward, wounded but steady. "You can die here for a dead man's dream, or ride away and become something better." Silence. Then one rider turned his horse. Another followed. Within minutes, the camp emptied into the storm. The Blackthorn clan was over. At sunrise, Caleb rode back to Dry Creek bleeding and exhausted. The townspeople gathered as he entered the street. No cheers. No shouting. Just respect. Sheriff Nolan, arm in a sling, tipped his hat. "You saved this town." Caleb looked around slowly. "No," he said. "This town saved me first." Martha embraced him like a son. Months later, Dry Creek built a small schoolhouse on the hill. Caleb helped raise every beam. Children often asked about the scar on his shoulder. He always smiled and said, "That's what the past looks like when it misses." And on quiet mornings, when the sun rose over peaceful streets, Caleb would stand on the porch and remember one truth. The family that raises you can shape your hands, but only you decide what kind of heart you carry. If today's story touched your heart, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And remember, even a small act of kindness can change someone's entire life. Red Heart.